in 2024, I really want you to actually start to turn into the human being that you want to be. There's something that God's nudging you to do. There's somebody that God's wanting you to turn into. There's people, places, things that God wants you to let go so your new identity can actually start to take shape, take form. God's ready for you to give birth to the new you. And I know that sounds so cheesy, even me like saying that out loud, but it's the truth. Are you going to go another year? Like, seriously, it's 2024. Like, I know I'm speaking to some of you where you're like, okay, 2024 is, but no, this is really the year. And it's like, well, what did you do? What are you doing differently? And I'm going to give you some things that you can actually do differently to morph and change into the human being that you actually want to be. And the thing is, a lot of times, okay, this is you guys got to just hang tight with me because I'm going to really unlock some things for you. I can feel it. I'm super excited about it because I know this is going to really give yourself permission to actually do the thing, to actually start the thing, to actually become the person. And I've never talked about this before what I'm about to start talking about in this video. So you're going to want to make sure to listen to the end because there's some things that I learned just within the last year. So I know I've never said it before because it's something that I just realized within the last year. And for those of you that have been watching me for 2 years now and have been in the game with me for, you know, my 2-year anniversary, I'm sure you guys can even tell that there's like a little bit of a shift, a little bit of a growth, right? And a lot of growth in some areas. And if you are somebody that is really trying to, I don't really like the angle of this too much. Let me do this to where I go back a little bit. So if you are somebody that really is like, okay, I have been really wanting to turn into this person. I really want it. Yeah, that's better. So I just feel more natural now. Like we're hanging out, talking, sitting down at a picnic or something. Also too, if you guys have any questions, anything that you guys want to ask me in regard to health, fitness, mindfulness, or what I'm talking about, I'm happy to answer any of them. So you guys can definitely feel free to interrupt and ask a question. And if I'm in the momentum on something, I probably will wait for a second before I actually stop my point. Because what I've been doing is I may actually have questions till the end in the future, but right now I just feel called to like answer in real time at the moment. Okay, here's the thing. I'm just writing this down. If any of you guys also feel called, I actually was just on TikTok live and a few people asked, and I've been forgetting to actually add this because I don't have super chats yet available on my live. If you are feeling called to donate, you can definitely cash at me, and I do have that pinned. So I'm just calling that out for anyone that feels called to want to donate to the channel. I really appreciate it, and all the donations go right back into the channel and me growing this community. So here's the thing. Who are you? Who are you? Ooh, okay. If you've been struggling to actually, whatever it is in life, it doesn't matter, whatever area of life it is, the body of your dreams, the spouse of your dreams, the money of your dreams, the traveling of your dreams, whatever it is, and if you're not currently living it, this is what I want you to I want you to really hear me. If you are not currently living it, there is something that is not unlocked within you. Period. There's no like, well, it's because if you are not sitting in your like this moment right now, okay, even if you're watching this in the future on a replay, it doesn't matter. I'm sitting on top of my Peloton, so let me shift this. Sorry guys, just bear with me. I should have adjusted this a little bit, but okay. The bottom of the Peloton is in the way. So, okay, here we go. If you are not sitting right now on earth at this exact moment, whether you're watching in the future or watching it right now or whenever, there's something inside of you that really doesn't want it. There's something inside of you that really doesn't believe you can have it. There's something inside of you that is perpetuating an imposter syndrome mentality. There's something inside of you that is having some kind of limiting belief. And I always tell myself this, like every morning, I'm like, you are a limitless being. You are a limitless being. And it's the truth. So let's dive in. So in life, we have been shaped, molded, constructed, created by our environment and our caretakers, our family members, our friends, the neighborhood we grew up in, the country we grew up in, the society we grew up in, and we're just a big program of what we've been programmed with, and we are operating out of that program, right? So, quick little side story. I'm half black, half Punjabi, okay? So growing up, I was raised in a Black American home, and I was also would always visit my dad all the time, and I was raised in a Punjabi household that just happened to be in America, but it was very much ran as if it was still in Punjab. And so my whole life, I always just saw that there was ways that, like, outcomes, you could get the same outcome doing it different ways. Now, if you were only raised in one community, you only know of that one way of doing something, right? Or you only know of that one way of being. You only know of that one way of eating. You only know of that one way of how you're supposed to view life. But from the second I was born, I was always seeing a duality of like how life and reality was. And it was so opposite. A lot of things are actually similar, which some people wouldn't even realize, with two different cultures. Punjabi and Black culture is just, you would never pin those two together. But I think it shaped me for me to be living out my purpose. And I can simply see things that people just can't see because they weren't raised with this type of perceptiveness that I just was birthed into. And there is such deep programming in society and families and the way that things are done that if you feel called to be a certain way or do a certain thing, you literally can't do it if you are programmed a certain way. So for example, in the Punjabi community, it's normal. It is welcome. It is encouraged highly, like almost forced. And some Punjabi people know what I'm talking about. Borderline forced to either be a doctor, engineer, lawyer. And I get it because it's a very respectable job. It's very solid. It's very safe. It brings in a lot of money depending on what level you do it on. And there's not much wiggle room for creativity, finding your purpose. Like, it doesn't matter. It's like, okay, well, that's nice that you like to play the drums, but like, you need to, be a doctor. So if I wasn't also half Black and, living out your purpose and your dreams and your creativity was an option on the table, I probably would have become like a lawyer or something, just because it's a respectable thing you do. Like when you're Punjabi, that's just the kind of career you have. You have one, it's kind of expansive now a little bit, but it's usually it's a doctor, engineer, lawyer, like some kind of job like that. And so throughout my life, when I've seen people or run into people and they say, I can't do something because of this, or I really want to be doing this, but because of this, I can't, it's the program talking. It's not really that you believe that, it's that the program has been so ingrained in your subconscious that you will not allow it to unlock, right? So, and sadly, I've seen a lot of people that I know that in the Punjabi community that have not followed their dreams and hopes and desires. And in some ways I didn't either because of just how strict it is. And so I use that example because I think that applies to all of us in some way, shape, or form. What were you told when you were younger? What were you told by your society, the society that you grew up in? What were you told by the neighborhood that you grew up in? What were you told in the elementary school that you grew up in? And where, go along that journey, like really sit with yourself. You can journal this out. I have my journal, I have a notepad here, and I'm going to be jotting some things down as well. But like really sit down with yourself and figure out, okay, is 2024. I'm doing this career, or I'm doing this job, or I'm in this relationship, or I'm living in this place, and it's like, I don't really want to be doing that, but why am I still here? And once you realize that there's some kind of programming along the way, something told you that you could not do X, Y, and Z. Something told you that this is how it has to be, just suck it up and deal with it. Something happened at one moment in your life where you were like, oh yeah, starting my own business just isn't an option in our world, right? And once you unlock that, like it's just literally, it's so crazy how easy it is when you just decide, like you make the decision from an internal point. Not like, okay, I'm gonna write it in my journal, this is cool, but like internally, like unlocking, like we have a nervous system, right? Like if you look at the human body under whatever kind of system, it's like you see the nervous system. Hi, Marquise, right? Marquise, how are you doing? So we all have a nervous system, and it's almost like there's something locked into the nervous system that will not allow you to go after what you want to do. So you're thinking, but I really want to make more money, but I really do want to start a business, but I really do want to get like in the best shape of my life, or I really do want to do that one thing. But there's something there in your nervous system, in your programming, your subconscious programming, that it won't allow you to do it. No matter what, you're going to always self-sabotage yourself out of it. And once I finally came to that conclusion, I've had layers of this, but once I finally came to that conclusion, I felt like the world just like blasted open of like, whoa, like I felt like the rose colored goggles like came off, and I was like, oh wow, like I actually like do have thousands of options. I can actually do X, Y, and Z. I can actually choose to do that. I can, and all it is just a matter of unlocking it within yourself, but you have to figure out where it came from. So for example, like I'll even use a really vulnerable personal one for me. So me being Black and Punjabi, this isn't really just a Punjabi thing, but like I am from a millennial era, okay? And it was so pre social media, right? Pre making money through social media. Social media wasn't even really a thing. Facebook and MySpace were like barely a thing, but like making money on it. Like I don't know if there was people making money on it, they were way ahead of the game that I know of, but it was just like Facebook was just like for college students just to like put up cute pictures, like, and that was it. It wasn't anything crazy. And so my programming is that you only can make money from a 9-to-5 job, because that's just what I was told. That's what I saw in society. Even though my dad was an entrepreneur, that's why I also think I went down the entrepreneur route, because I actually was like, no, you can be an entrepreneur, because like my dad did it and he's from another country. So that's a whole other story. But like most of the time I was encouraged through teachers, through, women in my family, get a career, get a job, get a career, get a job, get a career, get a job. So what am I? Okay, I'm supposed to get a career, get a job. And I was a dancer. I loved to dance. And I really wish I would have did that journey longer. I did dance professionally when I was in college, but I stopped because the programming, like you're supposed to get a real job now. So like get rid of the dancing. Like only people that like are delusional, and if you notice, all the delusional people end up becoming like the millionaires and billionaires, because it's kind of like the Noah's Ark like analogy, where he was building an ark and everyone's like, what the heck are you doing? Oh, I'm building it for the rain. And they didn't even know what rain was. They're like, what do you mean it's going to start raining? Like, what are you talking about? Water's going to come from the sky. And the flood came like 100 years later, And so that's what it would have been. I would have had to do a Noah's journey, and I wasn't strong enough to do that. My programming was it was too ingrained with, yeah, okay, well, you're supposed to get a real job. And my real job actually sucked the life out of me, because, that's what you're used to. You see people, they go to a job, they work a 9-to-5 that they hate, and then they all go to happy hour and complain. Like that's just like the world and the reality that I was living in. So I didn't really know if anything was wrong. I just knew I felt like I was like, my soul was like it was just starving. And so I finally realized 10 years into working at this job that I hated, I was like, I'm going to crack. Like I'm coming, I am going to, I don't think I'm going to have a nervous breakdown, but like if I was ever going to have something like that happen, it's coming, it's close. And I was like, but why do I feel like I have to stay at this job, right? Like it's another year, it's a new year. New year, new me, I'm going to find a new job. And the next year I'd be at the same job. And I was like, I finally sat down with myself and I was like, what? There's something. Like, there's a reason why I'm here. Does part of me love, like, actually like this? Like, does part of me actually like to be in a job where I complain? Like, do I like that I have toxic, like where you trauma bond? It's like, do I actually like to like trauma bond with coworkers about hating our job and like, oh, this is just what you do after college. You just like live a life you hate. Like that's just part of, so again, I'm an older millennial. It was part of like, I'm not saying this is every older millennial's journey, but like most of the ones that I knew, it was like, yeah, you just work at a job. You're not really passionate about it. You kind of just like drink your beer after work. You just eat whatever after work. There's no fitness lifestyle. And I just was like, something is just off. Like I can't. So like I hope you guys can understand like the itching that was just inside of my body, my soul. So finally I just was like, there's a program that's not, I cannot break out of this until I break a program. There is a programming that is there that if I don't figure this out, I'm going to be 65 years old and just always did the woulda, coulda, shoulda. And, well, it's great to see so-and-so go after their dreams. This is something I wish I could have did, but, and I just was like, is that going to be my life? Like, and so I ended up quitting my job, but this is how I did it. I'm not encouraging you to quit your job. I'm not encouraging you to do anything. You can apply this to anything. Sorry, I just see a plane. It's really, really low. I was like, is that a spacecraft? But I was like, I need to quit and I don't know what I'm going to do with my life. I don't know, because I was never encouraged to search for a purpose or passion. It was always go after a job. Like you get a 9-to-5 job and you pay bills. Like it wasn't anything about your creativity or finding out who you really are, or if you love health, dig into health. It just wasn't like that. So I know someone that is going to see this and be thinking the same thing, like, wow, I'm in the same spot. And once I finally figured out that it was because of a program that was so deeply ingrained, and that I knew when I broke the program that I was going to also have to continue to nourish that breaking of the neuron or of the nervous system. Like I unwired that, if you look at the nervous system, it's like it looks like a bunch of wires, like right under our skin. It's like a bunch of wires. And it was like, I had to undo that wire, undo that knot. And I knew once I did it, I was going to have to nurture it, continue to nurture it, because it was going to probably try to like go back. And I hope that makes sense what I'm saying. Look up what the nervous system looks like and you'll see what I mean. And I knew that it was going to be a journey, because other people. And also, yes, make sure to like the video. There's 4 people on right now. Make sure to like the video so that way the algorithm gets out. This needs to get out to not just one person. I'm always like, oh, if I just help one human being in the world. No, I know there's a few people that need to hear this. So please make sure to share this after this is done, and make sure to like the video. Also comment with anything else that you guys want to add to this too, if you guys can empathize with this. So the program, this is very vulnerable again, was that this came from both Black American and being Punjabi, that you just got to do what you got to do. And being passionate about something is not important. Finding your purpose in life is not important. You just need to make sure you can pay your bills. And I knew that the programs, as soon as I did the unwiring, went in there, got my toolkit and unwired that, and started to live my life, I knew that the programs were going to be like, wait, abort, like, hold on, you need to like put that back together. meaning family members, people in the community, people that, were part of helping that program of limiting beliefs stay together. So I was like, ooh, am I ready? Can I do this? Like, is this something that I like? Do I have the wherewithal to actually, like, you know what, let me just shrink back, put the program back together and like call it a day. But the nudge was just too strong. So I just was like, I'm just going to trust God. The nudge was God. And I was like, I'm going to trust God, and I'm just going to know that I have God on the other side. So like God is the divine, supreme source, the one, the most high of like all of the infinite multiverses, galaxies, and like, and beyond that. So my journey about trying to undo a program, like, I'm sure I'll be covered, right? Like my team of angels that he's got behind me, my ancestors, like, I got my team with me. So even if human beings in my 3D world are putting me down, shutting me down, trying to put the program back together, trying to shrink me back into a box, I know I have like an infinite, like, divine source on the other side, right? Like, helping me. So I just took the leap. And it was really hard. It was really, really difficult. But the next year, I didn't go into the next year saying, dang, I'm still in the same spot. I was in a new spot because I actually shifted. I changed a program. I unlocked and unwired a subconscious programming that was put into me from family members, from friends, from myself, from the TV, from the media, from the yellow pages, from the library. Yes, we actually used to actually walk into libraries back then. They're like these ancient buildings, I think that they still stand, but it's like, that's what I was programmed by. So once I broke that, even though I was still lost, I was like, I'm still alive. I still have food on the table. I'm still attractive. I'm still, you know what I mean? Like, I'm still, like, I'm good. Like, I'm still healthy. Like, I broke the program. Like, no, I didn't have to stay in a job I hated, but like, that's what was always told to me. But like, I didn't. And then I went into, like, a whole year has gone by, and I'm now I'm happier. I'm still don't know what my passion is, but like, I'm happier. I'm feel lighter in my body. I'm more fit than I've ever been. Okay, I wasn't making as much money, but like, I have more energy to actually go after doing something else that I want to do to make more money. So I just was like, okay, like, I did that. Like, okay, cool. Like, I'm good. And so what I want to tell you is that if you are going into 2024 and you're still the same, it's because there's a program there that you are going to have to admit that you need to break, and it's not going to be easy. It's going to be easier to stay in the program. It's going to be easier to still be in the job you hate. It's going to be easier to be in the abusive relationship. It's going to be easier to be 35 pounds overweight. Like, it's going to be easier to do those things. It is going to be easier to not start the business and not have people, well, what do you mean you're starting it? But, well, are you sure you can even do that? Well, doesn't that cost a lot of money? Or aren't you going to get sued? Or what, do you even know what you're doing? Or that's not going to work. Or, I mean, the market's oversaturated already. And like, it's going to be hard, but no, I've actually been meditating on that, by the way. Like, when people say, oh, it's going to be hard, it's going to be hard. In my experience, it actually hasn't been hard. So even though I've loosely probably been saying that already, this is just coming to me right now. The hard part is that you just want it to be like your reality right now. So not living the reality that you want is just hard to swallow. Like, that's what's actually hard. But it's not hard to actually like start a business. Like, it's not really hard. Happy New Year. It's not actually hard. So you just Google how to start a business. Okay, boom. Is that hard? No, my fingers work. The internet, the Wi-Fi is working. Okay, to figure out what you want to sell. Okay, what do I want to sell? Okay, meditate on that for a while. Was that hard? No, it wasn't really hard. Yeah, you might have, skipped out on watching your show because you're actually doing the work and starting, writing out your goals, right? You're actually not scrolling on Instagram and like writing out your goals. So maybe that could be hard. But it's not really hard. You guys know what I'm saying. So, and I'll read your comment in just a second. Let me just finish this thought. So in 2024, you really want to be different. You're going to have to look at your programming. And if there's something that you're saying that you can't do, but you want to do it, it doesn't mean you can't do it. There's a program there that is hooked. Like, in the Matrix where there was like Neo always had, like when they went into the Matrix, that thing that they had to put in the back of the neck, and then he would like wake up into reality. There's something like that inside of you. There is a program that is hooked into you that is stopping you, whether it's a religious programming, a societal programming, ethnic programming, a geographic programming, and people in California don't do that. People in Florida do that. People in Texas, people in New York there is a program there that is stopping you from doing it, because you can literally do anything you want. And if you think about it, everybody on the planet is doing what you want to do right now. So it's not a matter of if it can't work, right? Like everyone's doing something. There's nothing new under the sun. Unless you maybe create an invention, like, which is super dope and go for it, and like it's never been done before, but like a Elon Musk or, like a Steve Jobs or something like that. But still, like, nothing is really new under the sun. So you can do it. It's just, if you're seeing something that you want, like a lifestyle that you want, but you're not living it right now, your programs have a hold of you. And when you finally sit down and say, I'm going to do 90 days to dig into this. I'm going to do 90 days to get rid of the clutter in my apartment, in my room, in my car, in my drawers. I'm going to take 90 days to really just get in my journal. I'm going to take 90 days to just sit with God and meditate. I'm going to take 90 days to not go to happy hours and clubs. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not necessarily someone that's super against that kind of stuff. I just think you need to have dominion over it, like power over it. Like, you don't need to be a party animal, but you can party sometimes, right? So like 90 days, stay away from the club, 90 days, no alcohol, 90 days, like just dig in, because once you start to really analyze your programs, it's almost like you don't really have to even do much. You don't have to do much efforting. Your reality just starts to change. It's like, there's opportunities that just blip into your radar that you're like, I wasn't even looking for that. But because you broke a program, you unlocked a program, you took something that was a limiting belief and you became limitless with it. You're like, meaning I'm going to give this to God. And God is the limitless almighty force. We don't know. It doesn't even matter. It's not our job to know. We just know that there is something that is aware that we are aware. Like even right now, it's like we are all aware that we have a body, right? We're not like, it's not like our body, our skin is talking, or like our eyeballs or our hands are talking. It's like we are aware that we are in a body. Like we always say, my body. Well, what do you mean my body? Whose body? Well, mine. Well, who's my? Who's saying my? That's gonna really, I might lose some people there with that one. But there is an awareness, there's a consciousness that like is running through us, and it's not our job to know if it's real, right, wrong. Dig into metaphysics, dig into quantum physics, dig into ancient teachings. That's not my calling to like really convince or not convince, but that's just how I have been running. So I can't really teach and train without bringing up spirituality, because that's just not, I can't admit that I've gotten to where I'm at mentally, spiritually, physically without spirit, without God, without divinity running throughout my life. So if God is not a religion, if God is not an ethnicity, there's no program. You're really limitless because we are made in the image of God. But it's the constructs we've been put into, we were born into. And so the reason why I think I was able to like see that very easily is that because of the duality of being Black American and also being Punjabi, and seeing that there's different ways that you can live your life. And so in the Black culture, you can go after whatever you want. Like, you know, you don't have to only be a lawyer, doctor, engineer, right? But like you go into the Punjabi world, like that's just what you're going to be encouraged to do. And I see that people have gone that route and lived beautiful lives, and I've seen other people not go that route and live beautiful lives. And so, but if you were to bring those two people together, they might have a crazy debate and get into arguments, right? Because they're like, no, but this is the right. Well, no, I'm going to encourage my kids to only be this because it's practical, it's safe, it's da-da-da, and that makes sense because it is. Why wouldn't you want your kids to have a good practical path that's going to bring them financial, you know, security and da-da-da? And then another culture, American culture, is like, go after your dreams, do what you want, start a business, go be a singer if you want, you know, work it. It's like, and then that parent might say, no, I want my kids to go after their dreams. And, you know, but for me, I've just been programmed with both, like by being born into it. So, which if I was programmed with both, I'm just like, oh, not only can you be anything with those two ethnicities, but you could be anything in the world. Like all perspectives matter. It just does. And so if you're like, I can't start the business because of this, I guarantee you someone has your same scenario right now and has a business. Or I can't have the body of my dreams because this is my family. You know, we just have diabetes. Well, I guarantee that there's people that are diabetic that have the body of their dreams, right? Like it's almost like if you are not moving toward what you want to see in your life, it's because you actually just want it that way. And once you realize that and you admit that, you can actually start to make a shift. And you're like, no, but I really don't. So like, I got to figure this out, right? So like 8 years ago, I could still be at that job, probably 30 pounds. I gained 30 pounds when I was at that job, hated it. 30 pounds, I looked older. It was just a lot. And if I said, well, you know, I'm already this age, so I can't quit. One of my family members that's an elder already said this, so I can't quit. Well, everyone's saying I'm crazy for even thinking about quitting, so I can't quit. When you're already this far in a career, you're not supposed to quit. Like if I would have just went with those programs, I wouldn't have ever went to Egypt. I wouldn't have went to China. I wouldn't have went to the UK. I wouldn't have went to all the islands I've traveled to. I wouldn't have met the people I've met. I wouldn't have had the experiences I've had in the last 8 years. None of that would have existed because I wouldn't have been able to go anywhere because you only have 2 weeks vacation. So yeah, let me actually read what you guys are saying. And I hope this is really, you know, again, you guys are more than welcome to ask any questions, add anything. I would love to hear your perspective or your opinion on this as well. If you feel vulnerable enough to talk about where you're at, or if, you know, if you want help, like a quick little coaching of like where you're at, and if you want me to help you try to navigate really quick, like how to get out of your situation, I'm happy to do that. It says, I come from Chicago. I don't think you remember, talked before a year ago, months back, but never, let me see. It's true. He's not hard. It's easy. I like to work out a lot. Thank you for encouraging me. Every time I've seen you, when I get a chance, you always give me a lot of encouragement. I thank you for that. Look older. You look very young. Can you take care of yourself? You look very nice. Oh, so thank you. I appreciate the compliments. So any questions about the topic? And I do remember you. And I hope that you were able to get out of that situation, because I know you were in a really tough situation. So I hope 2024 that you're not having to repeat that situation over and over. And if you are, it's time to really figure out if you're still there. I had to really realize this when there was situations where I was still dealing with something. I had to just say something about this is because like I'm attached to it. Like it's not really the thing, it's me that's allowing the thing to be in my life. And when we start really just owning that, your life can massively, massively like leap into areas and experiences and opportunities that you would have never been able to imagine because you unlocked the limitation. And I know that there is some tougher situations than most for some people on, maybe a living situation or a financial situation. But even with me, I was getting paid extremely well. I had a company car. I had already owned my own car. Then when I got this promotion, being a district manager, I got a company car, a company cell phone. I got per diem every day. I got to stay in nice hotels for free. And just the perks of being at that level of a management. And I still wanted to quit. I still hated it. And I was good at it though. I was really good. And I was like, if I stay here, I am just reinforcing the program. And I would rather make a little less for a while and be happier in my spirit and just be able to breathe and feel like I don't have this heaviness, like heavy. I always had like kind of like anxiety hovering in my chest. I didn't know what anxiety was then. We didn't even have terms like that. Maybe there was terms like that. I don't know. It just wasn't a thing like 10, 11, 12 years ago. But there's a lot of like mental health consciousness now in society, which is good. But I always had like this hovering heaviness like in my chest that I just lived with because I just was like chronically stressed. And I was just like used to that feeling in my chest. Once I quit that job, that feeling went away. It just was like, oh my gosh, this is priceless. I don't even care about money. This is a priceless feeling. Nothing can take this feeling away. And so I was so happy that 1 year, what year was it? Because it was 8 years ago. And it's 20, so 2015, 2016, when I went into because I quit in 2016 or 2015. I'm not sure. I'd have to like look at my calendar. But let's just say I quit in 2015. So when I went into 2016, I went in so proud of myself for taking the leap. So you could take the leap in anything, right? You could take the leap in going after the body of your dreams, going after the wellness of your dreams, going after the even if you have relationship problems, don't have the same relationship problems. Like, get the help. Seek out wise counsel. Download really, really good podcasts, not podcasts where men and women are barking at each other and yelling at each other and saying one gender is trash and one gender, blaming the whole society on one gender. Look at quality podcasts where it's two genders coming together that are like, okay, let's figure this out. Like, let's really communicate and figure out why, these issues are happening in society. Look at podcasts where they're married and they're having fantastic advice. They give fantastic advice about communication and what they do to keep their marriage strong. I mean, don't go into the next year with the same stuff, the same communication problem, the same fighting. Don't go into 2024 with the same 50 pounds you've been trying to get off for don't do it. Don't do it. Let this be the year that you go into the next year different, right? So let me see what else you guys does anyone have any questions or anything to add? Again, also please make sure to like the video. I see there's more people on here than likes, so make sure to like the video. Definitely, that is the best payment. I'm telling you, the best payment is that like for the algorithm. It says, let's see. Yes, I'm still here. I'm listening to you. That's a bunch of issues, but I'll be okay. God is with me to help me. Keep encouraging. I do need that. I do respect you. I really want to work out more than than what I said before. I want to lose at least 80 to 90 pounds. So the biggest thing is with wanting to lose 80, 90 pounds, and you haven't, and you know you've wanted to for a while, we got to figure out what the limiting belief is around the 80, 90 pounds. If the 80, 90 pounds is still there, it's because there's some type of belief that it has to still be there. So we really have to sit down and figure out, why do you want to get rid of 80, 90 pounds? Because if you've had the 80, 90 pounds for a while, a part of you is okay with it being up, not you, the whole you, but a part of you. So we have to figure out how we start to make the other you dominant, right? The part that does not want the 80 pounds on your body. And we have to figure out the why. Why would you want to lose 80, 90 pounds? Is it for health? Is it for looks? Is it for both? Is it for something smaller, like a competition? You know, is it something deep? Like, I just really want to be the first person in my family to be fit at my age. Like, you got to figure out what the why is. And the why has to be your driving force, because the why is the only thing that's going to get you through the days where you have super low energy, don't feel like it, you want the donut, you're driving by the fast food, you're going to want to pull and get it, you're going to say, you know, whatever it is. So you got to figure out the why. And the why has to be so potent and you've got to be fighting for something. Like, you know how, like, you know, like those movies like 300 or what are some other good movies? Like, I don't know, I just think of 300, and I think it's called 300, and they're like fighting for their kingdom, right? Like, and it's like, why would you put your life on the line? It's like it has to be that deep. And my mom was on that journey. My mom was headed for 290 pounds. She was headed for 290 pounds. She was 280. Her trajectory was 290. Let me get a sip of my tea really quick. Sometimes I get to going and I don't swallow. That's why I got the tea with me. But the trajectory was headed for 290, and we know what was after that was going to be 300 after that. Oh, ironically, that's a synchronicity right there. So we had to figure out the programming, and we had to figure out the why. And being a Black woman in America, it's hard to lose weight. Black women in America, we are big boned. Black women in America, we like to eat. Black women in America, in my family, we have diabetes, and that's just what it is. And you know what I'm saying? And I can say that because that's just, there's no debate on that. Like in the community I've been in, that I've heard that come out of several elders of mine with that. And it's not real. And so once we really dove into, okay, so what, yeah, you usually go after, you know, you usually end up passing away the same way or getting the same diseases because you're eating the same, your lifestyle is the same. So we got to change up the lifestyle. So I helped my mom lose 45 pounds, and we're on the journey to lose 40 more this, or we're going to lose 20 this year and then 20 next year. And we figured out the why, and it was very deep, and it's very moving. And on days when she does not want to do the things that she needs to do, the why is the reason why she has been continuing to stay at really great health. So if you want to lose 80 to 90 pounds, let's figure out the why. You want to live longer? Do you want to be around for your grandkids? If you have grandkids, do you want to be active with your grandkids? Do you want to be the first in your family to accomplish this level of health? Do you want to prove it to yourself, right? Like, we got to really figure out what it is, and then we have to change the environment. There's no way that you're going to be different and get different results if the environment's the same. When people tell me, it's just so hard to lose the weight, and I'm like, oh, well, tell me about your kitchen. Oh, you know, we have snacks, you know, I eat a donut, you know, only three times a week. Well, if the kitchen isn't it's the same, right? There's still snacks, there's still sugars, there's still sweets. You're going to maintain the extra 50 pounds. But if you want to go from 50 pounds overweight to 40 pounds overweight, there's just a couple of things that you're going to have to realistically do different. So if you're eating 3 donuts a week, yeah, in your mind you're like, oh, that's balance, right? Like it's only a couple times a week, but it needs to be more like a couple times a year if you want to actually penetrate losing the weight. That's just what it is. And it's not hard. It's just hard to believe. Like, it's not hard to do. It's just hard to come to that conclusion that, yeah, I do need to actually make some realistic, actual shifts to do that. So for me, I don't even put myself in that position. Like, I know I'm trying to lose like 6 pounds of fat. I really want to I am very confident with my body right now. I'm happy in my body, but just as a challenge for myself, I want to get tighter. So there's no Oreos. There's nothing like sugar, fake sugars. There's only fruit, nuts, and dark cacao chocolate. And I put raw honey. I'll like put like a little bit of raw honey. Now I could have a couple donuts and that would maintain me where I'm at, right? Well, it's only 1 donut a week, but the 1 donut a week is holding me back from the 6 pounds. So like, who has more power over me? Do the donuts and the cookies have power over me? Or can I let the donuts and the cookies go for a couple of months so I can get to my dream, my goal, right? My objective for myself because I love myself that much, right? So it says, oh, no, it's for both. I want to be healthy, and I think maybe because it's fat, maybe I got a lot of fat. Next, it says, follow the spirit within, chasing other ideals, opinions, desires of what and whom you should be leads to confusion. Everything you have is within, not outside of you. Self-help is to remind you. Absolutely, I love that. I do not eat, there's something in my eye all of a sudden. I do not eat donuts for a year. Sugar, I don't know sugar, no salt to my food. My coffee, I don't use sugar in my coffee. She think that you got the time to work out. I got too many people here in the house. That indirect, sorry, it's just some of the typing is just, I'm not able to follow. Remaining interruptions, I want to try. So the biggest thing is that everything that is a limitation in what you just wrote, well, everything is a limitation in what you just wrote. So if there's too many people in the house, and I'm going to be blunt, because I really love giving genuine advice that you're going to actually take, and it's going to actually it's going to help you shift. I'm not going to do the, oh, I understand, it's really hard, it's tough, there's a lot of people in the house. That's not changing. Right? That's like out of your control. So we got to sit down and say, okay, so what's in our control? Having extra family members in the house is not in my control at this moment. So how can I still move my body every day, regardless if there's other family members in the house? Because I love myself, because I'm worth it, because I'm giving myself a fighting chance to live out the rest of my life the healthiest the way that I can. And sometimes we create excuses that aren't even related to each other. So for example, I used to live in a house where there was like 7, 8 people in it. And when I was younger, and it wouldn't have been like simply walking outside. And I'm going to say this for you, because that's just for me, but for you, what can you do about your circumstance to where you can still move your body? And I didn't say lift the weights and get a gym membership, but let's just figure out what we can do, right? I used to work out at the gym in the treadmill, and I used to go twice a week on the Kramer. I lost a lot of weight back then, around 54 years ago. Or maybe do you mean when you were 54? So then we want to dig in. If you were doing something like losing weight, or you were on the treadmill and you were going twice a week and you were getting results, let's figure out why we stopped going to the gym, right? Why did we stop going to the gym? And, so we want to just really sit down and figure out, okay, where were the lifestyle issues that prevented me from doing something that was working? Is having more people in the house actually going to hinder me from moving my body, right? If you need to go outside in the backyard, if you need to go outside in the front yard, if you need to go in the bathroom, if you need to carve out a time period and say, hey team, hey family, for 25 minutes, I'm going to actually be in this room, in this bedroom, and I would love it for 20 minutes. I would just love to have this space of the house just for me, right? Or maybe it sounds like going to the gym was really beneficial. So let's see how we can start going back to the gym, right? So every single thing has a solution. And if you want to lose 80 to 90, I believe I read that right. It says 8090. So I'm assuming you meant 80 to 90. If you don't mean that, definitely correct me if I'm wrong. But that's a lot of weight to lose. And it's going to take some serious ownership to start to chip away at that. And once we can just own that, the weight will actually come off itself by just implementing consistent, like a consistent game plan. Like, for example, my mom, I helped her lose 45 pounds. Eating ice cream at night is just off the table, right? Like, it's just, that's not going to get her closer to her goal. And she deserves to not eat ice cream at night, because it takes away from her health. It takes away from the major goals that she has for her life. She wants to be able to run after her grandkids still, which she's able to do, thank God. My brother has two gorgeous children that she gets to pick up and love on and run after and comfortably be able to pick up without, oh, my back, my arms. My mom doesn't have to do that because she took ownership, right? So there's some other thing, like, it's just when you follow the game plan, you automatically get the results out of the game plan. It's a simple input output. Like, I do this, I get this. I do this, I get this. So I don't eat the ice cream. I don't pack on sugar at night. I drink more water. It helps me stay fuller. I walk on a daily basis. It helps me burn calories. I don't have fried food at all. That helps me lose weight. Like, you know what I mean? It's just boom and then boom. It's just a bunch of decisions that are consistently done together in a bundle, because you really want to penetrate what you're doing. A lot of people will say, well, I eat balanced, I eat healthy, and like just eating healthy for one day a week is going to keep you where you're at. Next person said, the path of 1,000 steps starts with one. I love that. You can do it. Just pace yourself. Exactly. And I think kind of like to my point earlier of people saying, oh, it's hard. It's not really hard. It's just, again, it's hard to think that you just want it now. So it's like hard to swallow that you don't have it now, right? You don't have the body right now, but it's not actually hard to like take the first step. Like, you just you just go like this, like you just go boop. Like, so that part's not hard. It's that you want to be over here, but you're still here. So it's hard to just like let go of that, like let go of that yearning to just want the result already. But like the actual like steps are like not hard, right? So it says, I agree with you. I got more than 12 people in this house, females that take care of me here, take me there, walk 2 dogs, then picking up these kids from school and from high school or whatever. So a really great way to lose a lot of weight is walking the dogs, actually, and being the one in charge of it. That would be a really good way. So if you're saying you already do that, maybe you can be the main one that does it every time, right? Like, don't switch off. The thing is I've been there because the thing is, when you're meeting someone on the internet in a setting like this, you don't know, you're seeing where I'm at, what I'm doing right now, and then I'm just hearing your story right now. But we both don't really know what we've done to like be in this moment together, right? So what I can say for a fact, it's not necessarily easy to say this is the truth. If you really want something, there is a way for you to get it, no matter what circumstances you're in. It doesn't matter what circumstances you're in. It may seem more challenging, but it doesn't mean you can't still achieve what you want to achieve. So for example, I'll say another vulnerable one. I didn't know about stocks, right? I didn't know about investing money, wealth. It just wasn't in my world, in my community. I didn't see Black women trading stocks. When you think of Wall Street, you think of white older men. Okay. Again, not now today, but like me growing up, right? As a young person growing up, looking at the world. And so stocks were just super intimidating to me. And I was like, oh my God, you have to go to an expensive school, or you have like, I don't even want, it's just, I'm a Black girl. Like we don't trade stocks. Like that's not what Black girls do. They get a job and work a 9 to 5, right? And so I could just like, if now I could tell someone else and say, hey, look, like it's easy for you to want to trade stocks because you're white, right? It's easy for you because that's what white people do. Like they know how to do that kind of stuff. But instead, what I did was I said, okay, even though I don't see examples of this in my world, what can I do to still start learning? Even if it takes me, I have to literally inch along. Like learning stocks, how to buy them, what to look at, looking at the chart, how to even analyze a company. What do you mean it's bullish? What do you mean it's like, what is all this? Like all the terms, I could have said it's just easy for someone else to trade stocks. And then I would still not have an investing account, right? So it's more so you really gotta, the woulda, coulda, shoulda, the woe is me, it just doesn't work, right? It doesn't feel good living in that space. I know I did it for many, many years, and it kept me in the same spot and lower. So next thing it says, you can try to reprogram your subconscious mind before going to sleep. Yes, because when we say it's hard, we make it hard. Absolutely. It's really not though, because if one aims to losing 1 pound per day, I can literally lose 90 pounds in 90 days. Absolutely. So it's all about the programming. It really is. And that is so true. Technique Twin, I like, that's a cool name. Technique Twin, that is so true. The programming is so deep, and it's such a real thing that a lot of people don't even realize that they're operating on a program. And it's so simple because you can just turn the program off. You can just take the wires and start unwiring and rewiring. Listen to Joe Dispenza. That's a fantastic one to listen to. It's a fantastic, fantastic human being to listen to. I think he was put on the planet to help people hear it from a scientific standpoint, but it ties into spirituality, and does an excellent job with that. I would like to listen, but I'm getting interrupted. I'm sorry, I gotta hang up. Okay, well, figure out your why and let it be easy, and start making changes in your life, in your environment, to still get to your goals. Don't let your living circumstances keep you stuck. Next thing says, you're not a victim, you are a victor, victorious. Exactly. Exactly. My brother's name is Victorio, which means victorious, actually, so I love that. Thank you also for being strong when I counted as well, C, or when it counted as well, C. Love it. You're welcome. So that's the biggest thing on this live is identity. That's why I said I opened it up with who are you? Who are you? And just don't let this be another year where you go into it still complaining about the same stuff. Just don't do it to yourself. Give yourself a fighting chance to make the changes, make the shift. There's just too many people hurting out here, and there's too many people that sadly don't realize that life is just so precious. And you really only, I think it was also part of my journey to watch my grandmother pass away. I literally physically watched, I was like, I'm going to own this. Like, and I saw the breakdown and I saw the actual, like her last breath. And it just unlocked something in me. I was like, whoa. And I still feel like I'm getting like downloads, like from the universe, from God, of like what that moment really meant. But it really did unlock stuff. And the complaining, the self-sabotage, the woe is me, the victim mindset, it is such a unfortunate thing to waste your precious. Only thing I've been calling it lately, I might change this, but it's like your God gave you allowance for the day, and it's the amount of breaths that you have, and you're going to take your allowance for the day, and you're going to spend it on complaining. You're going to spend it on rerunning the same programs. You're going to run it on just self-sabotage. You're going to run it on excuses, but you get to do anything you want with that God allowance for the day. So you know when like a little kid, you give a little kid $10, right? Oh, here's your $10 or here's your $5 for school. And say, you know, he has free will to do whatever he wants with that $5. He can buy lunch, he can buy a candy from the candy store, he can trade it, you know, and what he decides to do is trade it for a broken pencil. This is free will. His $5, he could have ended up maybe buying a pack of Starbursts and then selling the Starburst for 15 cents and then came back home with $8. So he got to keep the $5 plus a $3 profit. But what did he do? He didn't do his analysis and he traded it for a broken pencil that doesn't work. And a lot of us do. It's such a random analogy, but it's just the truth. Like we take that God allowance and like just trick it off. Like we just spend it on weird stuff like that just does not serve us. And then you wake up again and God's like, okay, here's your allowance for the day. And we look at it, we use the allowance for looking at depressing memes, looking at depressing podcasts, looking at the news. Like, God says, okay, that's what you want to do. Instead of, how can I actually start the business? I want to be a millionaire, so what do I got to do to be a millionaire? What do I got to change in my life right now? It could even be, you never know, just clearing clutter out of your drawer could help you become a millionaire. Like if you listen to a lot of very, very wealthy people, they're very tidy. So I know that sounds random. You're like, well, I want to be a millionaire, but like, what do I do today? Like, you'd be surprised. Taking those baby steps can get you to wherever you want to be. So don't trick off your allowance. Like the allowance is the energy, the breath, the chi, your breathing, like what you're doing with this vehicle, with your body. What are you doing every day with it? Because there is going to be a time where like the consciousness that what's breathing this body is the breath is going to be gone out of this vehicle. So it's your choice. And I think if people really like when I saw the last breath actually going out of, like usually people have grandmothers and grandfathers pass away all the time, and that's part of life, right? But maybe they're not there to see it, right? I do think it's a gift if you are there to see it. I know that sounds crazy, especially when you know that they're, they're in their elder years, they've, it's their time, right? So I actually was like, I'm going to like really hold space for my grandma and watch this whole process. And when I did, I don't even think I knew what it was unlocking in me, because I was just like, whoa, like as soon as my grandmother passed, she passed away in her room with all her family around her in a warm bed. Perfect way, beautiful way to pass. I looked around in her room and I saw all these unfinished projects, all these woulda, coulda, shouldas, right? I saw hopes, dreams, plans that were unfinished. And I just was like, really have just done some deep introspection, reflection of her life. And I'm like, okay, well, why didn't she just conquer that or accomplish that? And the complaining and the self-sabotage and the low self-esteem and the low confidence and not doing anything to, and again, it was part of her time period too. It wasn't really a thing for Black people to get therapy. And so I'm so happy that that's a thing now, because it wasn't in the Black community a long time ago. And if it was, if mental health was talked about, there's probably a lot of things that she would have accomplished. So I just say that to say, like, when I actually saw a human being's last breath, I was like, oh, like we actually do. Like, I know people die every day, but like, there's a time where there won't be breath in the body anymore. And all those plans you had, all the stuff that you said you wanted to do, all the complaining, what is it for? Like, you spent all your currency, all your God currency for the day on complaining, on making excuses, on saying things are hard, right? So what else are you guys saying? I followed your blogs, videos, and posts for over a year. I must say I'm quite impressed with your consistency and knowledge base. What keeps you motivated when things become difficult? It's my why. It's my why. I have stepped into and know my purpose on this planet, and I'm so blessed and thankful that I've arrived to it. Now, what that purpose is what I'm gonna do with it, it's just all in God's hands. But it's part of my purpose. It's part of why I was born. And so when I'm tired, or I'm like, I don't feel cute today, I don't want to get on the camera, all that doesn't matter, because I know that there's a human being or two or three or 1,000 that need to hear the message, and it has to come from my mouth. There is, especially if you want to like anyone that wants to start a YouTube, I unlocked something in myself where I was like, okay, the market isn't saturated because Ciana's not saturated. Like, I'm not saturated, right? People might still there might be millions of people talking about self-development and wellness and fitness, but there's a handful of human beings on the planet that have to hear it from me, from my looks, from my body, from my background, they have to hear it from someone that's from where they're from. They have to hear it from someone that sounds like me, a Valley girl, right? Like, now someone else might be repelled and they're not supposed to hear the message from me. They're supposed to hear it from someone else. So like for me, I'm obsessed with like wellness, health, like all things with the human bodies, mind, body, soul, in and out, why we do things, what we eat, like everything with the human body, I'm just obsessed with. And so there's some messages that I'm like, I'll be listening to something and I'll click out, and then I'll click on someone else's podcast, and it's like just who they are is resonating with me more. So even though I might not be up to it for the day, or I might not be into it, or I might not have the energy, there's just, it's that deep knowingness of like, I'm supposed to be the one that says this one thing that's going to unlock something for someone and potentially save their life in a certain area of their life. And then that fills me up. Like, it's almost like I feel like God is giving me like a bag of lights, like a bag of like little light orbs. And then I'm supposed to like hand them out to people like that day. And then and that light orb like unlocks something in them. Like, I know that sounds cheesy, but that's what I feel like. So, and then when I do that, every time I actually give one away, it like makes my bag of lights bigger. Like my light is bigger, like when I give the light away. So that's what it is for me. I've finally arrived to knowing what my purpose is. And because I'm living in my purpose, it gives me the ability to live out more passions. Because a lot of my purpose is intertwined with my passions. So that's what keeps me going. Sincere condolences for your loss. The woe is me is parasitic symptoms. Well, thank you. No, I appreciate that. Yeah, that was a blessing to watch. I was meant to be I was my grandmother's caregiver for 6 years straight. That's a whole nother journey. I have a whole TikTok and a whole Instagram that barely anyone knows about that just showed my real raw and uncut journey of the caregiving journey. And I think that I was meant to do that to really like have a lot of ammo and evidence to talk about what I'm talking about. So it says, wow, you answered my question without reading it. Oh, what was the question? So, oh yeah, okay, I see your question. So yeah, that's what it is. That's what it is. So 2024, if you're trying to lose weight, like the gentleman trying to lose the 80, 90 pounds, get my ebook guide. It's in the link in the description. If skip out on a day of Starbucks and get the ebook guide, it's what I've done. I'm headed for the next decade of my life with the number 4 in front of it. I'm headed for that. I'm very close to that decade now, like extremely, like very close to the next decade with a 4. It's what I do to stay youthful, to stay radiant, to stay vibrant, to keep my health up to par. It's in that ebook. It's a cost of a large Starbucks, like literally 2 of them maybe, right? Or 2 small Starbucks cups. Just skip out and get that. You have all the secrets, you have all the tips. Also, if you're trying to get organized with your health, your fitness, starting a fitness journey, I have an amazing dope ass calendar that is available down in the link in the description as well. Definitely tap in with it. I use it every single day. I love it. It's a digital calendar and it's all hyperlinked. So click it, check it out. I may do a whole video and show you guys. I've done a loose one before, but I'm just not tech savvy. So like, I'm going to figure it out though. And I'm going to figure out how to like have it here. And then like, I'll be showing you how I fill it out. It's so cool. And fun to use. And it's not like the boring ones that we have, like that the iPhone just comes with. Of course, it's apparent you are physically a gorgeous woman, but you are twice as beautiful because of your transparency. It's needed in the world. I really appreciate that. I received that. Thank you. So any other questions before I hop off? Any other questions about health, fitness? If you have not liked the video or subscribed at this point, definitely subscribe, definitely like the video, definitely share the video with anyone that genuinely needs to hear this. Or any of my other videos. I talk a lot about health, fitness, and other ways and all that. So you can consider this a training on how to make the shift, a training on how to step into your new identity. I'll probably even retitle the video on a free training on how to make the shift. Because it's time. You deserve it. You only get so many allowances a day. And there's going to be a time where God's like, no, you don't really need to have the allowance today because you're going to stay home today. So, any other questions? Also, too, one last thing. A lot of you guys have hit me up personally in my email and my DM on Instagram and Facebook and ask if I have super chats. I don't have access to super chats yet, so if anyone ever wants to donate, I do have my Cash App and my PayPal. So if anyone wants to donate, it pours back into the channel. So I do appreciate for those who have done that. All right, guys. Well, I'm gonna hop off. I hope you guys have a beautiful rest of your Wednesday. Also, you can find those links to those down in the description. And definitely make sure to comment. If you guys ever want to also, like, if you have a question and you don't want it to be in public per se, you can slide into my DM on Instagram. And sometimes I'll do, like, if it's a question that a lot of people ask me, I'll do a general video on it. or, you know, I'll respond back to you. So, all right. Have a beautiful rest of your day, and I'll catch you guys on the next one. Bye.